The graves around the gallows weren't resting. Something beneath the soil had already begun to stir. Episode 18. Dead don't stay buried here. Welcome to Echoes of Elsewhere. This is a story about people caught between two worlds, the modern, gothic shadows of New Eden and the dark, oppressive nightmare of Barovia. I'm Keith, your GM, your keeper of secrets.
I'm Edie Jones. I'm playing Rax Koshak, a dragonborn bard, and somewhere in the back of his brain is a very confused artist named Vince.
I'm Leah Sky. I'm playing Blake Emberlich, and she has secrets.
I'm playing Professor Gregor, and he's getting way too into this Renaissance fair.
I'm Tony Keone. I am playing Elliot Knight, the inventor of the most advanced AI ever created.
So we are all from the world of New Eden, kind of like the world that we all live in. We recently returned, had a crash out at a diner. We all went our separate ways. And when we went to sleep, we found ourselves back in Barovia. In Barovia, we had a funeral to attend to, some arrangements to make with the locals, and Dr. Elliot persuaded Blake to do some crime. Professor Gregor went off to bond with Father Donovich over priestly stuff and digging holes. Rax meanwhile helped talk to Ismark and Ireena, and is still hoping that Ismark's going to take him up on that drink, I think. And Blake and Elliot broke into a church and stole a book on demons, worship, and sacrifice, or something very sinister like that. I think we made it out, and we're getting ready to probably head out.
I think we made it out. You did. You are safely out. You are outside the church. Ismark and Mary and Ivan are returning to Ismark's manor. Ivan will be staying here to watch over them and to make sure that nothing unexpected happens should Doro manage to break free of his current confinement. So he will be remaining behind as a guardian of this place. Professor Gregor, you and Father Donovich have dug up this knife that you recognize from your world. Donovich looks at it, a little surprised. Not something he would expect to see. But he doesn't say anything. He doesn't ask any questions about it. He's willing to follow your lead on this. You gonna head back to the others?
Indeed. Yeah, he's gonna sort of wrap up the knife. I think it's something that I look at with a few other eyes. Thank you for your help, Father Donovich.
It is the least I can do. You have reminded me of my duties. I hope that I can help you as you go forward.
Oh, you already have.
Before you leave, give me a moment. I'll go into my office. I can write you a letter of introduction to Father Lucian at St. Andrew's Church.
Well, of course, that would be excellent. I think Professor Gregor sort of pushes the dirt back into the hole with his shovel.
Father Donovich picks up your shovel as you're doing that. As you're walking back, he carries both shovels with him, and he goes, "It's a shame about Gertrude. She's every now and then, not often, but the young women from this town sometimes come up missing. I'm afraid if you don't get Ireena out of here soon, she might be one of them."
Yes, I see that. It's odd. I think Father Gregor has a very far away look. Looks like he's sort of responding to Father Donovich, but he doesn't seem to be paying attention to what he's saying as he's sort of going through what what the implications of the knife could possibly be. Yeah.
And the thing that I think you are aware of is that this is the second instance of something that has traveled from your world to here, unchanged. You and Father Donovich are continuing your journey. It's not a large town. You make it back to the church relatively quickly. You see Blake and Elliot and Vince are all standing near the church. In the distance in the cemetery behind it, you can see the large man is pushing the table into the back of the mausoleum, getting it prepped, getting it ready to be sealed up. Father Donovich goes, looks like he's almost ready for me. I'm going to go back and continue my duties while you take care of yours. And he shakes your hand, hands you your shovel back.
Thank you.
And he bows to the rest of you. A little head nod.
Good luck, Father Donovich.
Well, one moment. I have to go to my office. And he puts the shovel up against the side and he runs into the church to go to the office to get that letter.
Excellent.
I think at this point, Rax goes up to Blake, and because he doesn't know what she's been up to, and he says, are you okay? You ran out of the diner pretty quickly. I just wanted to check on you and see how you're doing in this world and in the other world.
Jude, I don't even know if I'm okay. Yeah, I've got some news, but I can wait till tell the group. How about you? How are you doing?
I feel settled. Very much settled here, at least. I'm 100% Rax. There's very little Vince left in me, but that's how it should be here. And I'm still trying to process what the heck I saw in the other world. It was a very different kind of magic that dealt with electricity and automatic vehicles and computers, things I would never imagine here. And that's really it's a lot to take in, but just as Vince has a lot to take in my world, I suppose I have a lot to take in his. I don't know why we're so symbiotically connected, but I don't love it.
Yeah, is it hard for you when you're, not you?
It's always hard for someone who, when they're forced into a state that isn't who they are. And I think that having control of the body that belongs in the world, I think, is key. So I'm willing to give up control when we're back in your world, but when we're here, I have to be me.
That makes sense. When we group up, I want to hear what the deal with the cop was. Like, yeah, I don't know if you remember that, but Vince was talking to the cops. I don't know. I just had to run away.
My remembrance of that from Vince's memory is that Vince kind of told the cop everything, and he did it just because he was bewildered and out of sorts and couldn't process what was happening. He was answering questions he was asked rather than considering the implications.
Shit. Well, that's probably not good. Speaking
but don't give him a lot of heat about that. He was pretty messed up.
Yeah, so was I. Speaking of crime and law enforcement, we might want to get out of here.
Why?
Well, we might have done some crimes. In fact, I think Father Donovich is going to find out about it, literally any second.
Did you guys go back and steal that book?
Yeah.
Okay. We should go.
We still need that letter of introduction.
The thing is that if what she's saying is correct, as soon as he gets into that office, he's not getting that letter. He's going to discover what they did and be all freaked out and not actually do that letter.
It's okay. It's fully buttoned up.
How is it fully buttoned up?
I left a note.
You left a note. What does that mean?
Yeah, I left a note to throw him off our trail. He's gonna be looking for the masked bandit, of course. So we're still well within the time of it, so I'm still connected to you psychically, and so I say, it's okay. Just, I'll be in your ear, and we'll get through this.
We will discuss this later, Elliot.
Of course. Right after you get to read that sweet, sweet book.
Father Gregor goes into the church.
Father Donovich is there. In his hand, he holds an envelope. There's a wax seal on it.
Ah,
And
excellent.
It's addressed to Father Lucian of St. Andros. I think this will help guide you and your companions on their way.
Excellent.
That you may get the help that you deserve.
Can I make an insight check?
I was just about to suggest that.
I would like to
The help that you deserve.
I would like to make an insight check, please.
You certainly can try.
Sure. Let's have a look. 21 on
DC 21 is very good. That roll of 21 is very good. This was only a DC 15 check. That's kind of our baseline for most things. Will be DC 15. Any guilt you're feeling at the moment is projections from yourself. It is not coming from Father Donovich. He seems very sincere in his desire to see you be successful. And for a moment, he pauses and puts his hand on your shoulder. I know you said no, but it would mean a lot if you would take this to help you on your way. There are forces that work against us. You don't know what help you're going to need.
You hear in your ear, go ahead and take it. If you need to, we can donate it later. Just...
Father Gregor, again, I appreciate your offer, and I'm not intending to demean your attempt to assist us, but I think what you're giving, are you sure that what you're giving us won't do a lot better here than it will assist us where we're going?
As you ask that, he stops and looks around the church itself, and you see the pews that have been broken and smashed. You see the destruction that has happened inside this place that has not been repaired. It hasn't even been cleaned up except for the little bit you did the other day. He looks back at you and goes, until my son is cured, I don't have a church. I don't have a place to hold services. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this. I am truly lost.
It is well and understandable to cry out for aid, but what is called upon for us to do, Father Donovan, is not to make prayers, but to answer them.
Do me a favor, roll a persuasion check here.
All right. Flat D20. Let's see. It's a 14.
14. He looks and nods. It's our job to answer prayers. Well, Father Gregor, I believe you are here to answer one of mine. So thank you. And once again, he puts the pouch back into his robes, and he glances over his shoulder at the closed office door. And I will say, with your 21 insight check, when he glances back at the door, he does seem to be slightly disturbed when he looks back at it, but not in a way that he's blaming you or your companions for it. He just knows something's off.
I'll leave you to your work. It has been, and he'll shake Father Donovich's hand.
It has truly been. And he nods. I have things that I need to do as well. So good luck on your journey. Stay safe. Ireena returned home to gather her supplies. And then I think you have everything you need. And he turns away from you, stops at his office. As he does, you hear the sound of Doro scratching at the floor beneath you. calling out, just a cry of anguish, no words. And he takes a deep breath and he goes into his office and closes the door behind him.
I think Father Gregor, before he leaves it, he turns his sort of face and his head in the direction of the locked door with the iron spikes in it. I think actually he walks up and he double checks that the iron spikes are all still in place. Maybe gives them an extra little tap to make sure they're really good and set in there.
Yeah, they are still set in state, but you tap them, and as you do, you can hear Doro hit the door and pound on it a little bit, trying to push against the chains, holding it in place. They hold.
Yeah. And then he looks down and then walks out of the church.
Father Gregor leaves the church. You find yourself outside. The mist is around. It hangs in the air. You can see the fog in the distance in the forest around you. You know generally where you need to go, the road. Ireena comes out with her pack at the ready. You have your packs at the ready as well. Is there anything you'd like to do in Barovia before you head out?
I'll just make sure Mary is settled and Ismark is settled and everybody's got what they, everybody's in place, that, they don't need anything else from us before we go.
I think they are all as ready as they can be. Ismark has a vision for the future of how he can make a difference in the village. How that's going to happen, he doesn't know yet. He doesn't have a plan, he just has a vision.
Well, I really think that your vision will come true if you believe in it enough.
And maybe invest in social services.
Yeah, social services, good, good welfare state, unions would be good,
You have some work to do with your friend, I can see.
Elliot's all smiles.
I do have some work to do with our friends.
And with that, you move away from the village. You start walking down the path. You follow the same road path that you came in. This is the road where the old woman with the cart had gone. And you realize you're following her footsteps. You are heading west out of the village. You are following the main road, because you see there's a bridge in the distance, little more than a mile away. You take the trek to it. As you approach the bridge, just to the right of the bridge, you can hear the sound of somebody cutting wood. You glance over in that direction, you see two men. They are working pretty steadily. One is cutting the logs, the other one is stacking them. You realize that they are not cutting trees, they're cutting debris, windswept logs, branches that are falling. They're cutting that down, collecting firewood. As you are looking at them, they both stop and look at you. They have the kind of vacant glaze in their eyes as they watch you walk up.
Well met. Are you okay? Do you need help?
No, we are here we collect wood for the village.
You didn't happen to see a group of strangely dressed people pass this way, did you? Perhaps 12 of them. Perhaps wearing something strange around their neck that looked a little bit like a shiny medallion, but different.
We have seen strangers passing this way. It is not uncommon. They were in the company of Vistani, and Vistani by themselves are strange, colorful folk, and these people with them were also colorful folks. At least most of them were.
To which direction did they head?
He points westward over the bridge. They had gone that way.
When was this?
It was yesterday morning they had passed through.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
That is no problem. Do you need a firewood?
We could definitely use some firewood.
For a few copper pieces, they will give you a stack of firewood for camps you can do. So you have a stack of firewood for 2 copper pieces.
Excellent.
If you buy the firewood, you have to carry the firewood.
Fine, I can carry firewood. I'm a big, strong dragon. I can do anything I want. I'll even light it.
The one who's talking to you, while he's busy talking to you, the other one goes off to the edge of the forest, and he grabs a fallen branch and he starts dragging it over toward where they're cutting.
That's about right.
Should probably get going.
Yeah.
You have firewood over your shoulder. You're continuing along your way. You go for about a mile and a half, not quite 2 miles, when you come to a crossroads. What's noticeable about this is there's a gallows here. It's an old wooden gallows. There is a noose, a strand of rope, badly weathered, hanging from the gallows, swinging in the breeze. There's a small cemetery behind it. Few plots of grave. The mist and the fog are very dense around it. As you move further away from the village of Barovia, you see the fog has grown thicker. Along the road, it seems to be mostly clear, but as you move off, you see it start to grow thicker. Not as thick as it was when you first came in, but still thick. Ireena pauses for a moment, stops everybody. If we continue to the north, she points up to the right. That'll take us to the camp of the Vistani.
Okay, do we want to go there?
If you go to the left, continue west, that's going to take you to the Tesser Falls, up to Vallaki, past the orphanage.
Well, I think we want to go to the orphanage.
How much of a detour is this Vistani camp?
It's maybe 2 miles to the north, kind of through the forest. Most people stay on the road. And if you go there and come back and circle back around, it's 2 miles there, 2 miles back. But you could cut through the forest and get right back onto this main road. But there's dangers in the forest, wolves, and other things.
I think we have a few things to discuss generally, including whether or not we take this detour that we should. Now that we're well out of town, I think we should discuss.
Yeah.
So the gallows itself is on a raised wooden platform. It's about 6 foot by 6 foot. The gallows is just a pole and a cross beam. The rope's hanging off of it. There's a set of stairs going up to it. There's a low rock wall about 3 foot high that surrounds this almost like a pauper's field type graveyard. There are graves. There are markers on there, but the markers are not nothing identifying on the markers.
See.
I want to investigate the noose, see if I can determine how recently it was last used to hang someone. Not really sure how I would determine that, but I want to try to determine that.
I think I'm going to have you make a survival check on this one.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because you're trying to measure the wear of this thing against nature and the elements and things like that. So I feel like survivors. It's going to be pretty difficult on this one. I think it's going to be DC's 18.
Well, let's see what happens.
I have a 15. You know it's been pretty old. And Ireena comes over and says, occasionally we have that. I think it's been almost a year since my father had to have someone executed.
Okay. So it's been a year since this was used? Is this
since the last time that we've used it? I don't think the Vistani use it.
Just kind of curious.
It is kind of curious. It's very modern and civilized of you. Normally, when you have a gallows of this sort, there isn't a graveyard behind it, just sort of a pit beneath it.
Do your dead walk the next day?
Suppose not.
We find it best to treat them with respect, regardless of what crime they did.
So if you bury them properly, they don't walk the next day?
That is the hope.
I'll investigate the graves to see if any of them have been disturbed from the inside.
If you do it properly, they're not able to be disturbed for another week.
You go ahead and start checking the graves and looking at them. And there are a number of them that do appear to have been dug up. Not from, it's hard to tell if they're from the inside or the outside, but they've been dug up.
And there's an empty coffin in there?
When they bury them here, they wrap them in a cloth and drop them in the ground. So there's no casket here. In one of the graves that has been dug up, you see a few scattered bones in the bottom of it.
Okay, good info.
Nothing appears to be recent in the last week or two.
All right, well, I relay this to the team. Just, this is what this situation is. Have we decided which way we're going to go?
I feel like we haven't talked since the diner. What happened to you guys? I certainly didn't try to wind up here.
Same. My only concern about having this conversation right now is how much light we have. And it's kind of obvious on Elliot's face that he's like grasping at straws for reasons to not talk about this right this second. And he says, I don't know how much light we have before we need to make sure we camp up. So maybe this is best saved for when we do camp.
I agree, Rex says, knowing what Vince will have to, what he'll have to tell you all about what Vince did. He's backing you up on this one.
I disagree. If you will recall, the last time we were nearing time when we didn't drop out just as we went to sleep. We dropped out a decent amount before. So I don't know if we will be in a state or able to converse just before camp, and we should do so now when we have the certain chance.
Well, there you go, having a point. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Hey, Ireena, can you maybe keep watch while we have a quick conversation?
I would love to hear what this conversation is about. It's very intriguing. But yeah, I could watch. Yes, of course.
Appreciate that.
And she steps off to the side, gives you some privacy.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
Okay, so what the fuck, y'all? What's going on?
It's several questions come to my mind. Beginning with the first, when our bodies vanished and then reappeared. You'll note how when we vanish from this place, our bodies remain ambulatory, go around their general daily business, but in the world of New Eden, we are gone, vanish, and then appear, which is an unusual inconsistency, and one I believe that is worthy of note. The second...
And it might be why we found some people here that have their things from the previous, and that did you tell us about the knife that you found?
I'm getting to that.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So he just says, with other people when they come here seem to not necessarily change, and yet we did. So I'm wondering if it has something to do with that.
There are at least two paths between our worlds, it seems to me. While my original theory involved some sort of thin space that groups of people could walk through, that doesn't seem to be the case here, because, as far as I'm aware, we weren't all in the same place when we vanished. I was at my desk, and if my desk is some sort of thin space, then I have been very unobservant for a great many years.
I think it's not a thin space. I think there are different ways to get here from there, and for whatever reason, we're traveling between bodies instead of between worlds. And I don't know the answers to why our Barovian selves are ambulatory, whereas whatever happened to us when we returned to New Eden, we were built out of new parts.
New?
Or something like that. Vince, in the back of my mind, is explaining to me, exactly what he saw. I was there. We're just, it's when you have two minds in your head, and one of them is very much trying to have control, and the other one is yammering in the back. Really wish you would shut up. It's hard sometimes.
So that's the first question about the two paths and why on one side our bodies are ambulatory and the other one we seem to vanish and appear. As I imagine, the paths seem to look the same on one side but different on the other, and that is not an answer but just a question. The second question, and one I believe we overlooked a bit just because there's much going on, but the man who was killed at great risk on the other side. I mean, the impresario was killed at great risk and exposure to whoever. I believe Lord Strahd is we saw the image of him, so I believe he had something to do with it. And the question is, of course, why? He must have gone to some trouble to do it, and we had already talked with the man, so there must be some reason why he had to die. It's worth considering.
I mean, yes. His death was absolutely intentional and had a purpose. We just don't know what that is yet. We also don't know why there was a ghoul who ran off and Blake chased him, and the ghoul had killed somebody also right before the fire started in the tent. Am I getting that timeline right?
Yes. The ghoul was there to kill the man, presumably.
Or to burn the tent, and he was a witness. What if the tent was, they went through the tent, apparently. They disappeared there. What if that was, their gateway, and the ghoul was closing it? I don't know.
That's possible.
Yeah, to me, this reads as loose ends, trying to cut them down.
Yes. The question is which ends. And speaking of loose ends and more questions, the disappearance of Gertrude, I believe I'm getting the name correct. While we initially believed it to be disconnected from our intentions while entering this place, I believe is not. I thought that there was something to whatever that wolf was trying to dig up last night, and I have been vindicated, and with that he will remove the very colorful dagger from his cloak and display it to the others. This is from our world, I believe. It must have been on one of the performers.
I will ask to take it from you and examine it and say, yeah, this does not come from here. I don't recognize this at all. This is made from materials.
Of nylon.
Yeah,
They don't have
Rax
nylon
doesn't know
here.
what the hell nylon is. And Vince is trying to explain it to him, and Rax is like, shut up, I don't care. And he hands it back and he says, that's clearly from your world.
Yes. It's
pretty...
from one... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, it's just rainbow knife. It's pretty cool. If you don't need it.
I can't use edged weapons, but I would like to see if there's any residue on it before I hand it off. Can I examine it? It's been a while, but I think we should examine it together and see if there's any residue. I'll get the alchemy kit there is something to analyze.
Vince is screaming the word fingerprints into my head. Is that something we can do?
It was buried. If we get even like a fragment of blood on the edge of the knife, I will consider myself to be very lucky. It's been buried for some time, enough for it to be a natural burial rather than an intentional one, potentially. So again,
Interesting.
Any trace evidence we find here will be we will be greatly fortunate. Should I roll something to examine the blade and the?
Yeah, go ahead. Out here in this makeshift lab you're trying to create, go ahead and do an alchemical tools check. DC on this is going to be 25, though, as you've pointed out. It's not ideal situations.
Can I give him bardic inspiration?
And I'll toss him guidance. We got to stack this one. We need to know.
Is there anyone who can assist?
Not with alchemical.
No, not with alchemy. No, nothing. All right, here we go. And then we'll have a roll. Oh, I'm afraid I'll roll the D4 and the D6. It could get up to 23, but
So the base roll is a 13.
Heroic inspiration.
Oh yes, thank you very much for the reminder there. We'll try to make use of re-roll the dice once.
There you go. Re-roll the dice and take the better of the two results. We have a 13. Use your heroic inspiration and.
All right, let's hope for the best here. All right, here goes nothing. Oh no,
that's not better.
That's
the opposite of what you wanted to happen.
Sometimes the fates are cruel.
Alas, it's bound to happen. I think he's sort of scratching at it for some time, and he stares at the file and he says, "Oh,
Can't see anything, can you?
dirt. Yes, it's a lot of dirt."
All right. So not to prevent us from continuing down this route, but I do believe that Blake brought up something very interesting, and we need to kind of connect some dots along the way. I also do have some information about the talk that I had with Mr. S while we were split up.
You talked to him?
Yeah, I did. But before that, we wanted to talk to Vince. Let's get this timeline ordered. So Vince was talking to the police.
So here's the thing. Don't kick Vince's butt about this. He's really, like, now that he thinks about it, he's not happy about what he did. But he talked to the police and he told them everything. He told them about, he told them essentially that we can't account for our whereabouts for the past 6 hours. And that he did tell her that all of you have knives, and that he does not.
How did that come up?
Else? It was a question she asked. Here was the thing.
All right.
And Rex is doing his best to defend Vince's honor here, but he's also a little bit frustrated with him. It says, he was completely out of it. He'd been dealing with a sanity loss from seeing himself made out of clay, essentially, and, seeing a ghoul, and the fact that he's dealing with alcohol withdrawal and all of that. He was not in his right mind. He was sort of on autopilot. Somebody was asking him questions and he was answering them. And that's where he was at. But it's something you guys are going to have to deal with when you get back to your world.
All right. I think I have that covered. I've got a legal team on retainer. I think that this won't be a problem for us. So
Thanks. I can't go back to jail.
I don't think it's going to come to that. Really, I think, if anything, Vince's bewildered answers might have made you guys seem less suspicious because Vince was so out of it. I mean, maybe the detective sort of thought that he believed what he was saying was true, but she's not going to take it at face value, and maybe she's going to look somewhere else. I don't know. There are a lot of ways this can go.
yeah, I think this is a situation where we can just put a pin in that, and we have options when we get back for sure. We can figure that out.
In the meantime, this My advice, personally, I know this is not necessarily a convenience that all of us have, but having some sort of arrangement with someone you trust, not one of us, because if we back up each other, that might be a bit suspicious, but someone who will agree that you were somewhere else while you were here is worth considering, especially if it's not the same for us.
Or, I mean, an insane idea would be just to show the cops the pictures of us appearing out of nowhere and see what they do with that.
I think that seems less than wise.
No, it does not sound like a good idea.
Well, to kind of corroborate why I also would maybe lean against it, we can move into that conversation with Mr. S. I went there very angry.
You angry? No.
To be very fair, I went there with the intent of probably fighting that man because of what he's gotten us into. We knew that we were trying to help things, and now we're here. And it turns out that they knew quite a bit more, such as information about the Vistani. And they also... Do you all remember... Oh, what was his name? Mick, I believe? The Were-Yeti?
Yes.
They have him.
Big gentleman in white covered in fire, I believe, last time.
Yeah, they have him. They have him locked away in some underground layer of some kind, and they're researching, and I don't know what to what extent. I don't know if they're experimenting on him or what. And they mentioned that there might be other things down there.
And they haven't shared the results with us?
They weren't going to tell us about that. It wasn't until I pulled the information out of him by honestly showing him the camera footage. And he did not react well. So back to the point of why I would maybe not suggest showing it to others. He's seasoned in these kind of things, and it still gave him pause.
Yeah, we probably don't want to make the cops insane.
So they just have a person, like Mick was a guy, and he's just been locked up for, it's been like years.
It has been. It's been 2 years.
2 years.
And he's just been somewhere underground or somewhere off-site in some black site, and I'm sure his family doesn't know anything. I'm sure when we get back we could look it up, and it's just been a disappearance, or maybe even declared dead. Like they're experimenting or researching or however they want to word it, but they're doing something almost assuredly against his will. So I am starting to get very suspicious of this group that we've aligned ourselves with.
Something happens in Rax's head, and all of a sudden his eyes snap open, and you hear Vince's voice come out. I've always been suspicious of those guys. I never trusted them. And also, for the record, I'm really sorry I sold all of you guys out. Rax has just let me out for a second to talk to you guys because the Were-Yeti thing just confused the hell out of him. You're saying the Were-Yeti is in some kind of jail with the Ward of Light has a jail?
Either some kind of a jail or holding facility, however they want to word it to PR it the right way. But regardless, yeah, against his will, being researched.
It's not good.
That's not good, but I think the lesson to us for now, other than wits about you, is let's none of us become too interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's a little late for that for me.
Well, I'll say this, Vince. I know that you may not agree with everything that I've done in that world, but I also never trusted these people. I've been taking a lot of information back home to my lab and to my computer systems, and if we do get back, I have something I want to show you all.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll do that. Okay, he's gone. God, that hurt.
Ireena lets out a soft whistle to draw your attention.
Immediately look up.
Up the road, coming from the northern path, you see two figures, colorfully dressed. As we pointed out earlier, most of the people you've encountered have been drab, boring, dull, dark colors. We see bright yellow and red and orange scarves flowing off their shoulders, their sleeves. They're wearing leather armor. And they're walking towards you. And with that, let's let the echoes die down. Let us pause, take a break, return to our normal lives, whatever that happens to be, and get ready to come back and try this again. So thank you very much, everybody.